Welcome back to the program. Now, here are some of your stories in brief. We begin with this one from Ogun State, where ahead of the May 29 handover of the government, the Ogun State government, they've inaugurated a 26-member transition committee. At the occasion, in the conference hall of the governor's office, the deputy governor asked committee members to justify their appointment in ensuring a peaceful coexistence and not tampering the peaceful atmosphere in the state. Well, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has charged both state governors, both re-elected and newly elected, and this is to boost internally generated revenue as well as value-added tax in order to address poverty, illiteracy, malnutrition, and out-of-school children in this state. He made the call during the induction ceremony at the State House, where he announced that the National Economic Council will consider new ways of effectively addressing security challenges. Our correspondent Gloria Mozoke has that report.
Outgoing governors, re-elected and incoming, converge on the banquet hall of the State House.
So we're really asking that
the Senate President, ministers, heads of government parastatals, members of the diplomatic corps and development partners are also here as the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and entourage walk in for the induction of new and returning governors.
At the special induction program organized by Nigerian Governors Forum,
the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Governor Abdulaziz Yari, listed areas of focus while he warned of a possible recession.
There is still the need for states to work harder to boost their internally generated revenue, to enable them execute more projects and developments and reduce over-dependence on the federation as the means of promoting the social well-being of their people.
Nigeria spends less on health proportionately than South Sudan.
Development partners took turns to spell the challenges and advise the governors on steps to take.
Economic success will be achieved by harnessing the potential of that population. We will need to invest in the people who will drive the economy of this country in the future. Because by 2050, the children born yesterday, today, tomorrow, this week and next week will be the economic workforce on whom this country depends.
Other speakers, without mincing words, confronted the issues that hinder nation building.
You have the power of the state. You have the resources of the state. And get more. If you gain the trust of the people, they will pay more taxes. And you have the opportunity from this moment to build that legacy by the things you do every day.
There are so many people who are hemorrhaging, who are hurting in this country. They don't see a reflection of themselves in Nigeria. And it's not just the economic inequalities. There is also the feeling of exclusion. Most of it is what we see in the violence that attends our election.
Yemi Osinbajo.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, however, lists human development and security as major targets that must be met.
States must, in the next few years, simply earn more IGR. We must effectively collect VAT and increase even agricultural output. We must work with the federal government to make broadband infrastructure available all over the country, so our young people anywhere in the country can do the jobs from anywhere in the world.
As the first day of the induction wraps up, the presidency makes it clear that the present administration is ready to support an all-party cooperation.
So while the newly elected governors have their work cut out for them in terms of raising their state's internally generated revenue to fast-track development at the state, let's now join the head the legal service, Mr. Chijioke Chukwu of the Nigeria Governors Forum from Abuja Studios. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Looking at capacity building...
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Looking at capacity building for the governors, previous governments at state level, they haven't been able to appoint the right people, say square pegs in square holes. I mean, they've most often than not rewarded loyalty. So how can they do things differently?
Well, thank you for having me. Well, as the Vice President charged them yesterday, there's a need to focus on generating more revenue, and he identified ways that can be done. You have to focus more attention on the resources that abound in the states and increase value-added tax. Well, one of the things that we're trying to achieve at the Governors Forum by holding the induction that's currently going on is to show them ways that they can do this apart from the traditional ways, and then move away from the regular way of doing things and begin to think out of the box. There are a lot of things that states can do. Virtually every state in the country has immense natural resources, which the governors can exploit in order to increase revenue and enhance the lots of their people.
Chukwu, apart from the state's resources, there's also the high cost of governance. You know that governors always have essays, PAs to the essays, they have a litany of these representatives. They also take a chunk of the cost of governance. These people also have allowances, they have furniture allowances, they have dressing allowances, they have bulk monies, and these all run into millions.
Well, frankly, these are areas that we, as the Secretariat of the Governors Forum, were working on that, trying to also let them know on the advantages of cutting down on cost of governance. And then, like I said, this is a work in progress. A lot of the governors are seeing the need to do so. And I'm sure in the next dispensation, you will see significant change in the way that things are done. That is one of the essence of the induction that we're currently holding.
But how much significant change will we see? We've had democracy since 1999. And we've been complaining about the same thing over and over again. Let's also not forget that the NGF, the chairman, touted a recession that might occur 2020 to 2021. So how serious are they taking this?
Well, for the chairman to have mentioned that specifically in his speech yesterday, that will show you how serious they're taking it. You recall that when the outgoing chairman became chairman in 2015, the country was in recession. The cost of crude oil had gone from 114 naira per barrel to about 75 naira per barrel, and it was difficult for them. But for the intervention of the federal government through different bailouts, the London Paris Club, and the infrastructure reform fund, that kind of helped. And they're aware of the need to readjust the way that things are done. And I assure you that you will see a difference. Now, if you go back to 1999, between 1999 and date, you will see significant change in the way that governors carry on their business and the way things are done. Now, these are some of the things that we'll try to preach and then implement at the Governors Forum Secretariat.
We'd like to thank you, Mr. Chijioke Chukwu of the Nigeria Governors Forum. He's the head legal service for joining us on the program. Let's now shift our attention towards what's happening at the National Assembly. Our correspondents are there for us. Let's join Larry Lasisi at the Green Chambers.
Good afternoon, Millicent, and it appears we have a very busy day lined up here in the House of Representatives. I have the order paper here with me, and I can tell you it's a 4-paged document loaded with bills. We're expecting now that there will be like 10 reports to be presented before the House. But interestingly, we have like 11 bills slated for consideration through third reading, second reading, which will involve some level of debate on the floor. 2 motions are slated for consideration, but the interesting part here is that we have like 25 reports to be considered in the Committee of the Whole, which can take a very long time, depending on how it goes. I also like to chip in that I'm getting indications from some of my sources that the budget, the 2019 Appropriation Act, could still come in possibly as a supplementary order paper. So we'll keep our eyes on that and see how it goes.
Thank you so much, Larry Lasisi, with the latest there. That's how we wrap things up on the program. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Don't forget to join the discussion via social media platforms at Channels TV, at CTV Politics, #LunchtimePolitics.